What up, fam dog pancakes? We're live.
Hello, everybody.
So this is SJW Nonsense. I'm going to be calling her Nonsense. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, very good. So so you're a university student,
I am, yes.
and you live in the same city as me.
I do.
Well, I live in the same city as you.
I was quite excited when I started watching you and discovered that.
Yeah. when did you start watching my shitty videos?
A long time ago, actually, because your early videos on Talisha, so I knew who she was just through uni and stuff. So I saw them pretty early on.
I was going to ask you that. No shit. I was going to ask you.
Yeah. I'm not friends with her or anything, but I knew who she was. I'd seen her around at different stuff.
Have you ever spoken to her?
No, I've avoided her, but she's the sort of one that's always on campus handing things out and stuff. So I've definitely seen her around. Yeah.
So is she like a friend of a friend or something?
Yeah, I think like I'd have mutual friends with her, like stuff, but I've never actually spoken to her myself.
Shit. And is she still at uni? She sort of strikes me as the sort of person who just does course after course after course.
Yeah, I don't know. She's definitely still someone that hangs around on campus, but whether or not she's actually still studying or not is a separate thing.
She still hangs around on campus. Fucking jeez.
Yeah.
And so you tell me about your you're more on Twitter than YouTube, aren't you? You do have a YouTube channel, but I get the impression you focus a lot more on Twitter.
Yeah, I have. So I started my Twitter account sort of right at the end of February this year. And it was really just that I had a whole bunch of crazy screenshots of SJWs being crazy and nothing much to do with them. So I sort of started the Twitter account just on a whim as somewhere to put them and not really thinking anyone would follow it. And it kind of picked up some steam fairly quickly. People seem to like it. But yeah, so I have got a YouTube channel as well where I've posted just a couple of videos, but I haven't focused there. I've thought about it, but I just haven't.
I reckon you should do more videos. I really like your videos. You've only got 4,
Thanks.
But I thought they were funny.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought about it early on and I was kind of weighing up, like, there's a lot of people now doing sort of anti-social justice videos and stuff, and wasn't really sure, like, is it oversaturated? You know, don't want to just be like shouting into the abyss.
Who gives a shit? I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people doing anti-social justice stuff, but the ones that shine out are the good ones, and you're the good one, so that's why you should do it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so, how long have you been at uni for now?
Too long.
Too long? So
like 5 or 6 years, yeah.
Right. And so, is there at your university is there many social justice warriors?
Yes, a lot. It's really gotten a lot worse over the time I've been there too. So when I started, like, obviously they were uni people. They were always going to be very left-leaning and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's gotten so much worse, especially like in the last 2 years sort of thing.
And so it's a daily thing, like you see them every day.
Definitely, yeah. There's always protests happening and gatherings and everything.
Jesus. You must you must handle cringe all right. You obviously do with your Twitter account.
I have to. Yes. Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, I don't mind looking on at the cringe. I get frustrated when it gets like a personal argument. I'm not a big arguer, or like I don't intentionally seek out conflict with them like some people do. But in terms of just like looking on and seeing their cringe, that doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I like to argue.
Yes. I respect that.
Thank you. And so like, what sorts of things happen? Like, how intense is it? I suppose is what I'm trying to ask. Like, do you get sort of caught up in much of their bullshit sort of rhetoric much? Like, tell me about that. How much involvement do they force into your life?
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot worse. So probably the most interesting is actually a subject I'm doing at the moment, which is purportedly about rhetoric and like persuasion. but it's actually just, I call it my social justice class because it's actually a nightmare. Every single person in there is like the quintessential social justice warrior, and every week it's the most painful class I've ever had to take.
What sort of things do you hear in that class? Like, what do they try to teach you in that class? Is that very SJW?
So we're actually, like, the readings and stuff, clearly how the course was designed. We read like Cicero and Aristotle and all this kind of classic rhetoric stuff. But then in class, it's pretty much entirely complaining about Trump and Brexit. And it actually is, you could play bingo with it, like the points. It's always like, have a go at Murdoch Press, have a go at Brexit, have a go at Trump. And like the very first class, actually, we were discussing using persuasion in everyday life, and I guess just tossing around examples of the sort of times that we use persuasion. And one of the girls goes, oh, well, you know, when someone says something really offensive and you have to make sure that they know they can never, ever say that again. And I was like, okay, people just like, yeah, totally, like fully on board with it. And I was just sitting there like, oh, this is going to be a great class.
so it's kind of like they're just this sort of fucking singular hive mind with this objective fucking, you know, definition of offensive.
Yep, exactly. And like that class has been interesting because as part of the class, I had to do a 10-minute speech or presentation, persuasive thing, with like a 10-minute cross-examination. And then I've also had like an opinion piece to interesting, because I was like, oh, well, I don't actually share any opinions with these people, so it could be a bit interesting.
So what did you do?
So I did my male victims of domestic violence.
Sorry, you just broke up. Can you say that again? Male
victims of domestic violence.
Oh, I bet that would have gone down well.
Yeah, I was kind of like, my theory was that it's something that they'll hate, but they won't want to be that person to argue against it.
That's a good point.
But yeah, so that was interesting because they actually had to give feedback to the tutor to go towards my grade. And he told me, like, in my marks, some of the feedback that he'd gotten from people. And it was hilarious. It was just, he said, several people wrote that since violence is a gendered issue, your argument was invalid. Violence
is a gendered issue?
Yeah. And it was like, well, you clearly didn't listen to anything I actually said. It was just, well, violence is a gendered issue, so your argument's wrong.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. And then the opinion piece I did was on the wage gap because I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, that would have gone down like a sinking ship.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't too bad actually, but they all got to critique it on paper. It was meant to be anonymous, you know, you don't know who the author is, but I'm the only person that differs with them on some significant things, so they sort of knew it was me. But yeah, so they all had to critique it on paper and give them back to me. So I was looking through those, and that was quite funny. I had things written down like, this person obviously doesn't understand how the wage gap's calculated. It's actually a man and a woman in the same job.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, it's not. And then like stuff like, reading this might make people uncomfortable, and like, you don't focus enough on systemic oppression and that sort of stuff. I was just like, yeah, great advice. Thanks, guys.
What was that supposed to be? Were you meant to sort of, you know, take some sort of action by that? But like when someone writes, reading this might make people uncomfortable. And
yeah, exactly.
Don't write it, or
yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, in their mind, if it makes someone uncomfortable, then you're doing something wrong and you need to fix it.
It reminds me of it's like that classic one that seems to be a you know, used as an argument. You know, that is offensive. That's offensive.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Exactly. That's offensive too. What are you going to do about it? Fuck you.
I know, and some of the things they say I find highly offensive. I mean, apart from just the very basic first class of making sure people know they can never say that again. But stuff like, some of the stuff that's been said even from the lecturer in that class has been like, checks and balances in the political system are used to impede progress and we've got to change it. Like, I find that very offensive.
Sorry, say that again. Checks and balances.
Checks and balances in the political system. So the idea that one person doesn't hold all the power because that could go bad. Like, well, that's actually impeding progress.
Oh, for fuck's
And
sake.
like, and then stuff, I mean, one week there, they were going off on this whole conversation about how, like, the gay marriage plebiscite, and they were saying we need to delay it as long as possible because the more baby boomers we can get to die off before we deal with this stuff, then the better laws we can get to go through.
Fucking hell.
Like, they just have no self-awareness that that's actually a really horrible thing to say.
Absolutely. Oh, look, Ranthony's in our chat. Do you know Ranthony?
Yeah, I've seen your videos with him.
Yeah, he's a funny motherfucker, Anthony. he released, yes, I was sitting here last night and he released a fucking outtakes of remember that video he did pleasuring produce for patriarchy.
Oh yeah.
He released like an outtakes thing, and it's funnier than the fucking original video. He's masturbating all these different bits of fruit.
Oh dear.
Oh, and he's talking to his mum. His mum actually came up with the name pleasuring produce for patriarchy. She comes and like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, just masturbating that fruit, like I told you.
Wow.
What a funny fucker. Yeah. So you're talking about the actual lecturers. I mean, to what extent do they get involved in this sort of SJW hive mind? Do you feel that they sort of lead the pack in any regard, or do they get involved? Like how? Tell me about that.
It depends on the class and on the actual teacher or speaker or whoever. But yeah, like some classes, they're definitely very much up there. Other times they sort of like, oh, I'm very objective and mediating the conversation, but then obviously not always. I've never had like a straight up conservative, or not conservative, but not social justice-y, where I've been like, oh wow, you are out of place at this institution. But yeah, so there's kind of a mix.
Why do you think there are
really terrible? Sorry, what was that?
Why do you think there are no conservative lecturers?
I think they're really weeded out. Like, you're really discouraged from voicing an opinion that differs from what they all think. And I mean, in terms of the lecturers, when they're talking about hiring and stuff, you're only gonna get picked up and published in certain publications if you're writing something they like. A lot of the journals are basically, they're Tumblr but serious. Some of the journals, if you look through it, like I'm talking like the academic journals where you're getting your highest up professors published in there, and like some of it's actually just Tumblr, the academic version. So I remember hearing rumors when I first started at uni, like, oh, there's a lecturer that thinks all sex is rape, and kind of everyone was like, that's really weird. But then obviously now that's kind of trickled down through Tumblr, and a lot of people think that. Yeah,
that reminds me. I once had a screenshot sent to me of a photo of a teacher's journal, like a teachers association journal. It was Australian, and it had this. It was an ad or some sort of infomercial for something, but it just blatantly said, we've got to teach our young males about toxic masculinity and not to rape, and it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, that's not surprising if you look at Australia's domestic violence stuff, but even just their the ad recently, Stop It at the Start or whatever, where there's like a kid slamming the door in the other kid's face, and
$33 million. $33 million.
Yeah, exactly. But that wasn't just an ad, right? They had all this material online, which I think I've actually got on my Twitter feed at the moment, but they have like, what is gender equality? And their answer, and this is teaching materials for in school and stuff, it says, gender inequality is when girls aren't treated as well as boys. Like, just think about it for 1 second. It's actually crazy, but that's coming from the government, like, and from a liberal government too. That's not even like something like safe schools that's getting pushed through. So
that's scary. Liberal government, as in John Howard. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Imagine running that past old Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, he was interesting recently. Did you see his comments about he doesn't think it'll ever get to 50-50 in Parliament because women tend to take on caring roles in society?
I didn't see it, but I tend to agree.
Yeah, exactly. He said that, and the feminists were outraged. And it's kind of like, well, aren't you guys saying this, that women take on a caring role and that's why they're held back from being 50-50? But
yeah, but John Howard can't say it.
No, exactly. And it was because he didn't, I mean, all he said was that it was an observable fact. He didn't say this is a great thing. But yeah, he didn't decry it strongly enough.
Fucking hell. It's just,
Yes.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, we had equality as far as, you know, we've always had it, haven't we? I mean, women can vote. Women can vote for women. Vote for women.
Exactly. I mean, women are obviously voting in men. It's so ridiculous. And then, I mean, they don't want women. It's not that they want women, because, I mean, I don't see anyone celebrating Pauline Hanson getting elected. What a great win for gender equality.
That's a fucking good point. Yeah, I mean, there's guaranteed no regressive out there fucking jumping up and down, you know, saying hooray for gender equality. Look at Pauline Hanson. There's no one, I bet you.
Exactly. And I mean, that's just true of every female politician or anyone, you know, in the media, that if it's a woman who is not sort of on the SJW side of things, then the SJWs are just absolutely brutal to them. They don't actually care about women in the public sphere.
They would have looking at Penny Wong.
Yeah.
She's a lesbian. No, wait, was she lesbian?
Yeah, she is.
Was she lesbian, or was she some sort of, because she might have been like a fucking demi man who was straight or something.
Yeah, how dare you assume?
Do you see much of that? Do you see much of the gender stuff?
Bits and pieces, yeah. I have, none of my friends have been like, oh, that's not true, actually. I've had some gender fluid friends.
Really?
But yeah, I mean friends. But
as in enemies.
Yeah, as in people I was friendly with, but yeah, no, so like I had friends who, you know, her sister, I would never ever ever dare say your sister, it was your sibling. But
sorry, say that again.
So a friend of mine had a sister who dressed in dresses, clearly a female, but it was always her sibling. It could not be her sister. It was her sibling, because they were gender neutral. They were a they.
And would she? And if you said sister, would she correct you and get offended?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I'm not friends with that person anymore.
And so have you ever met anyone that has like that goes by the pronoun Z or Z or any of that shit?
No. Well, I know of people that do at uni, but no, I haven't encountered it.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I mean, university is a place you go to learn about, you know, how to do things, how to you know, do a certain profession. Now, if you finish university and you go and try and get that great high flying job, and you sit down and it's old fucking Ron, the 60-year-old white male, you know, who owns the company, he's not going to fucking call you Zer. He's just like, even if you fucking ask him, he's not going to call you Zer.
No, exactly.
Yeah, fuck.
But they don't even see university as being for that. I mean, I was in a class recently, and I was in this SJW class, and we were talking about fee deregulation. We had to pretend we were, you know, making some point to the public. And
about what regulation?
Uni fee deregulation. The government wants to deregulate how, you know, the caps on charging fees and stuff. But anyway, we were talking about that, and I, as a joke, said, well, aren't I entitled for the government to pay for me to do an arts degree even if I don't even want to get a job afterwards? And they went, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sibling.
Yeah, okay. They were like, yeah, exactly, and wrote it down. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay. should know by now not to joke with these people.
That's insane, isn't it? And so they literally expect the government to just pay people's university fees out of the general coffers.
Yeah, and they don't think they should have to pay it back at all. They think the government should pay for everything.
That's so fucked, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They don't understand that if you spend money, you have to actually be taking in that money. Like, I I made some reference in a class to it, to being like, you would think that people would have an understanding from their own finances that if you get into debt, it's actually really hard to get out of, and that you need to actually have the money. And someone goes, oh yeah, that fallacy of thinking that thinking that national finances is the same as personal finances. Yeah. I'm like, well, it's still money.
The government prints money. They make the money. Don't know.
Making the whole situation worse. I know. They don't understand it at all.
That kind of reminds me of one of your Twitter posts that I saw of the real hippie looking fuckers sitting on the bonnet of their 4-wheel drive. And they've got
that was funny.
They've got the stop the oil pipeline fucking signs in the back, and they're sitting there with a sign saying out of gas.
I know, they ran out of petrol on the way to protest a petrol pipeline.
That is so fucking awesome. You got to.
And they wouldn't even think, like, they would not even think that that's hypocritical or anything.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, they wouldn't put 2 and 2 together, would they? No. Yeah, they wouldn't link one to the other.
No, exactly. They have no self-awareness.
Fucking hell. Speaking of your Twitter, I reckon we should have a look at your Twitter, because your Twitter is fucking funny.
Thank you.
Where do you get all your stuff that you post?
Oh, all over the internet. I have accounts where specifically to follow people, and I have, like, half of the job of it is just making sure that it's real, because pose law is definitely a thing. Yeah, and I want it to be real. I don't want to just be like, it's not really funny. So yeah, half the job is just trying to vet them, make sure they actually believe what they're saying. But yeah.
And so how do you just go to their feed and just make sure there's other stuff that's of a similar type thing?
Yeah. And because I have other accounts to follow, I'll follow people who I know to be legit. And then because I've got that account, then when I go and check someone, I can see how many people that I already follow that person, which if a bunch of them do and they're interacting with that person, then it's pretty likely that it's real.
And so do you sort of retweet much stuff that has come from people's accounts, like who you go to school with?
I've done a couple. It's a bit sketchy because I'm still anonymous, and I'm sort of like, it's only a matter of time until people sort of triangulate who I am by what I'm sharing. So, but I have been known to send things to other accounts that do similar stuff. There's a couple of, accounts that will post similar stuff, and I've definitely sent screenshots of people I know to them to post, because I don't want it linked to me.
Yeah, fucking hell. That'd be that could get dicey, couldn't it? You could sort of potentially triangulate back to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, back to you. You can see your Twitter feed on.
Yep.
What? All right, let's have a fucking look-see. What? Right, this one is funny. What is gender inequality? Gender inequality is when girls don't have the same rights as boys. Girls don't have the same opportunities as boys. Girls miss out on things because they're different from boys. For example, some girls can't play soccer at school because the competition is only for boys.
Yeah, I mean, that's that thing I was talking about. Like, that's a government teaching tool.
Yeah, that's insane. Did you hear about the I did a video ages ago about Fitzroy High School doing
I read
feminism
about that.
classes.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's a whole syllabus out there. Like, you just download the PDFs and get the lesson plans and all that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's becoming, like, even in public schools, it's becoming more and more common.
Yeah, it's going to be fucked when it's. I mean, I understand that one was.
It was an alternative school, yeah.
Well, yeah, but the class itself was like an elective, wasn't it? I don't think it was mandatory.
No, it wasn't.
But I'll tell you what, when they because they'll try when it becomes mandatory. That's what's this? White people are blamed for toxic culture on native reservations.
the TLDR of that is just, I know someone who took too many drugs. Fucking white people. That's literally the whole thing.
Popular gardening show is racist because it talks about non-natives. Oh, for fuck's sake! Where'd you get that one? That looks like one of the feminism websites.
I think which one? I think that was a retweet. That one.
Oh yeah.
I think it might have been from Breitbart actually, but like they were reporting on something an academic had said.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Is the page scrolling down on the Hangout? Like, can you see what I'm seeing?
No. I can see your mouse moving around, but it's not scrolling for some reason.
Hang on a sec. I'll just do a screen share. Yeah, you should definitely do more videos. Entire screen.
Whoa.
Screenception. Oh, can you see your Twitter?
Yep.
Cool. Scrolling down now in the Hangout?
Yep, it's working now.
Cool. What's this one? What's it? Oh, it's a retweet as well. Adultist slurs are basically chill.
You should follow that guy too. He's really good. The Safest Space. Yeah, he does a really similar thing to what I do. We sort of work together on some of the stuff.
What would you call yourself? Are you do you have a name for what you do? Are you a shit poster? Is that what you do?
See, I don't consider myself that, mostly because I don't actually, like, I screenshot stuff. I never tag the people who are in it, and I don't seek them out to, like, start a fight, which some people do. So I sort of see that more as shit posting, maybe. I don't really know what I do exactly. I consider myself just documenting it, maybe.
Documenting?
Yeah, more of that sort of thing.
Apparently tomboy, chick, girl, dude, gentleman, father, and husband are gender identities? Oh, Jesus.
Well, this person says that how can people be against the different words for gender identity, because even cisgender people consider their identity in different terms. I mean, it says that, you know, a woman could be a lady, they could be a tomboy, a chick, a dame, a lass, a woman, a girl. And it's like, they may even be a mother, a wife, or a sister, which is not what a gender identity is.
Hang on, according to them, a girl could be a father or a
exactly. But yeah, so I think, like, they're basically saying that words with slightly different shades of meaning or even synonyms are different identities. Like, if you call me a lady, you could be misgendering me because I'd actually prefer to be called a woman or whatever.
Holy shit! What about the ones that are all sort of butthurt about tampons and menstrual products being in the woman's aisle, in the fucking woman's side of things?
Yeah, so much of that. Yeah, and like not having tampon dispensers in the men's toilets and stuff like that.
I watched a video about that before, about some British girl bitching and moaning about the tampon tax. And what I don't get is, why the fuck don't they just, I mean, if they're going to protest about taxing an item, protest about fucking taxing toilet paper.
I know, exactly.
Both genders use toilet paper, and B, you use a fuckload more toilet paper than you do tampons. You save heaps more money, for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
It's just fucking dumb.
Yeah. I know, it's not, they want taxes. It's not that they don't want taxes. They just don't want taxes on this one specific thing because patriarchy.
Yeah. This. Saying, hey guys, perpetuates gender bias and reinforces the idea of a male-centric society. It fucking does not do any of those things.
What's
Do
scary
you
about
have
that is it's clearly a publication. Like that's been printed to put
yeah,
up somewhere. University of Nebraska, I think
yeah,
it says.
yeah. That'll be a fucking journal or something.
Hmm.
Do you get much of that? Do you get much of that sort of shit at uni? Like, you allowed to say, "Hey guys"?
So we can. It's a lot
You
of
can. It's discouraged.
yeah. I mean, a lot of it. Yeah, there'd be some people who probably get upset about it. I mean, I had a professor the other day in like it was a pretty technical class that I was in. Like it wasn't, you know, really humanities based thing, but he apologized for having in his slides the word man hours. And I was like, really? Nobody said anything, but he preemptively apologized.
Fucking hell. That's fucking so gay.
I know.
What's this one? Did you draw this, or is this
No,
Huffington Post?
this is feminist artwork.
What does it say? Oh,
I'm right here. I'm
I'm
right here, you
right
stupid
here.
idiot.
The clit queen hates when you can't find her. Yeah. No, you can't. What is it? You kindly wait your turn.
You kindly wait for your turn.
What? I swallowed the.
Anyway, this was an article on Huffington Post talking about how great this feminist art is.
Did you do you watch Sugar Tits?
Yeah.
Did you happen to catch the one she did with that Asian lady out the front of the museum?
Yeah, I saw that.
Queefing out.
Oh my goodness, why? I didn't do that. Terrible.
I still maintain Ranthony has to do that to represent the blokes.
Oh dear, nobody should do that.
Oh fucking hell! I love when Tits goes, no, she's drawing it with a minge.
That was funny. Yeah, I liked that one.
3 reasons we need to be critical of sex positivity in queer spaces. Huh?
Apparently, sex positivity could be harmful to people who've had bad experiences with sex.
Well, as in they've been raped or something?
Well, yeah, that, or they just don't like sex, or they've had bad sex.
Everyone's had bad sex.
Well, yeah.
What else have we got?
Oh, this annoyed me so much.
Mount Druitt. Why does Mount Druitt ring a bell?
It rings a bell because SBS made a documentary there, like last year, about it was like the lowest sector of society or something, and it blew up because everyone was really offended that it was portraying them so badly. It's like basically a really, really low socioeconomic area in Sydney.
So it's just a fact. It's not a slur. It's a fact.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, people were like, oh, they were portraying us badly because it was basically a documentary about, you know, the sort of people who were living on welfare and stuff like that.
Well, you shouldn't call facts because it's offensive.
Very offensive.
2 girls who became the face of the NEET generation for their refusal to seek employment were both offered jobs at their favourite hangout yesterday but turned it down.
I don't know how this became news exactly, but basically these 2 girls, I don't know if you click through the next picture there, but they, yeah, there we go. Those 2 girls said that they'd rather chill at Macca's and go off-roading than to work, and that they'd die before getting a job.
Holy shit.
And they like went on and said like, I don't want to just, it was like the whole, you know, the whole like, oh, but it's just not meaningful to just get a job and work until I die. You know, I want to do something more with my life.
Fucking hell. What's off-roading? Is that some sort of fucking
cars
to the bush and
bush bashing? Yeah. Bush bashing is not something I should say on your stream.
I will get a soundbite of that and humiliate you. You know, that's something I don't do enough of. Speaking of that, I've got so many fucking streams. Like, you know that game Quiplash that I've been playing?
Yeah.
That is like it just dawned on me the other day. That is the best opportunity. People say it's the most fucked up shit in that. Like if I just got pictures of people like different YouTubers and then made my own sort of storyline and used that audio as the sound, fucking hell, that could be funny as fuck.
I liked your idea.
Go on.
Oh, I liked your idea when you were streaming with Jeff Holiday the other day, and you were talking about Steve Shive's one with his stuffed animals. You said you were going to dub over their voices.
Have you seen any of them?
I haven't watched it yet, but you really should do the dub over because I really want to see it.
I had a look at a couple of them last night, and there's one there that could be fucking awesome. It's all about he's sitting in his lounge room with his stuffed animal toys, right? Yeah. And for the people listening who don't know what we're talking about, Steve Shives does these videos where he basically gets a heap of stuffed animals that he has, and he's got fucking names for all of them, and he puts them in sort of different settings, and he speaks to them. They have conversations with him. Like the cunt is that fucking deprived of friends and human contact because his wife's not a human. I was
going to say his wife doesn't let him have friends.
Yeah, it's sexist to have friends. And he fucking makes these videos where he fucking has full conversations with them. And he made this one about he's like in his lounge room and he's supposed to be watching this gay marriage between his fucking two of his gay fucking stuffed animal friends. And my God, there is some quality shit in that. There is some quality,
that's amazing.
Quality shit. But I think I will do that.
You should.
Yeah, here's the one I was talking about.
There's that
one. So what does it say? Oil. I can't. It's a bit small to make out. Oil kills and out of gas on the front. That's fucking awesome. Oh, there's Omegon in the chat. Anyway, Omegon. So do you watch what YouTubers do you watch? Who do you still look at on YouTube?
Who do I watch? I watch a lot actually. I watch you and Sugar Tits, and I watch Blair and Undoomed and The Satirician and Vernaculus and Computing Forever and Suit and Teal Deer and Sargon and all the usual suspects.
Very approves of that list.
Thanks. I watch, bits and pieces of other people too, but that's I guess that's probably most of my main list.
Did you watch that video that Undoomed did today on the Amazing Atheist?
Yeah, I did. That was funny.
That was funny as fuck. I for some reason I lost it when he called her a fuckhead. I don't know why. I think it's just because you don't hear Americans use fuckhead much for some reason. I lost it.
I lost it watching, because I watched the live stream yesterday of you and Jeff Holiday talking about it, and when she started reading out that attack helicopter comment, I could not stop laughing.
It was fucking hilarious. I don't know how anyone doesn't find that funny. That's fucking insane. That was funny as hell.
I liked when Jeff said, he's like, I think it was Jeff, maybe it was you, said, I bet the first time she read that, she laughed. There's no way she didn't laugh the first time she read that.
Hey, Hunter Avalon's in the chat. I think he's a bit triggered. He says, why isn't he on your list?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've definitely watched some. There's too many to keep up on.
Don't piss Hunter Avalon off. What have we got? Do you follow that? There's a really popular fucking feminist like Twitter account. It's got like 4 million followers or something. It's fucking massive. I bet you are on it.
It's got like a pink avatar.
Yeah, of some description, yeah.
I think I know the one you're talking about, but it's very it's just like feminist account. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, that one's fucking funny. That one is fucking funny. Some of the shit they post.
I know. That's one of the ones where every time you post one from them, everyone's like, this has to be a po, and it never is.
Black Lives Matter. Thoughts on Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, pretty much the same as everyone else in our parts.
Yeah. You didn't happen to catch the Melbourne protest, did you?
I heard about it. I saw, you know, I knew some people who went and stuff like that. It was pretty funny actually because they I found it really funny because I read a newspaper article about it, and the people that organized the event said all lives matter. And I was like, okay, clearly you've missed a memo from the actual Black Lives Matter, because they would not be cool with the fact that that was what you said to the media about Black Lives Matter.
You know how fucking offensive that is? Take that
I
back.
know. But yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. And what about, did you go to Slut Walk? Did you go to Slut Walk?
No, I didn't. I joked that I was going to, and I was like, I cannot do that to myself.
Yeah, I said that I was going to go, but I was just, I'll be honest, I slept in.
Fair enough. Definitely better use of time.
The lasting impact of white teachers who mispronounce minority student names. That reminds me, I was when I was young, like real young, I was in grade prep or grade 1 or something, so I would have been 5 or 6. I had a mate. My best mate was from Sri Lanka, and he and he'd only moved to Australia like fucking, you know, the last year or the year before or something, and he used to pronounce food. He'd go food, right? Like, as you can imagine, a fucking Sri Lankan does. And I remember we were in class one day, and it was grade 1 because we had this cunt of a teacher in grade 1, right? A fucking just this mean fucking bitch, and fucking it was lunchtime. The bell goes, and she goes, "Oh, good, we get to have some food." She goes, "It's food. Say it again. It's food." Oh fuck, she was such a bitch. Like if that happened now, it'd be in the paper. It'd be just racist as fuck.
That's funny.
It was fucking mean. Like, he'd fucking say food how he wants to say.
Yeah, wow. It's funny because like growing up and stuff, there was I don't know, it depends obviously where you go to school and stuff, but like the gender diversity of my school was 0. There was actually no Asians or black people. Like there was one kid.
Racial diversity.
Racial, did I say gender? Sorry, yeah, like racial diversity.
Hang on. To be a gender.
Probably.
Sorry, I cut him going.
Yeah, but like there wasn't any of that, and so it's kind of interesting now seeing how politically correct everything's gotten. I mean, I know of a teacher who they had like, because I mean, sort of the area I'm from, very, you know, no diversity at all like that, but like I know of a teacher who had one black student in her class, and she was trying to communicate with another teacher about like, oh, that student saying his name, and they're going, no, I'm not sure, I don't know who you're talking about. And they said, oh, you know, the little black boy, and got in trouble. And she's like, well, you knew what I meant before that, you didn't know who I was talking about.
That's like there's a skit on Little Britain like that.
Yeah. Well, it happened in real life.
Yeah. What's this? You're a homophobe if gay people don't constantly talk to you about being gay. Yeah, I'm sure. The frogs.
I liked that.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Are we friends yet? Why am I even asking?
This was an extended thread from an article from Everyday Feminism of a person who'd written a list of 10 things. It was a 10-point contract that you had to sign to be a friend.
Oh, get fucked. What about and you know Menstrual Blood Andy? Did you watch those videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
You had a fucking about a fuck buddy contract, and he's holding it up in front of the camera. He's going, so anyone out there who wants to be my fuck buddy, just drop me a line, and I'll send you my fuck buddy contract. You just sign it, get back to me, and we'll be fuck buddies.
Oh my goodness, the creep factor.
He did a video. I tweeted it out. He did a video the other day all about going down on your woman.
Oh, I heard you say that to Jeff on the stream. No.
Yeah, you probably should have left that one 6 months, mate.
Oh no.
But a gender reveal party by a cisgender heterosexual couple is an example of unintentional transphobia. Gender reveal party, as in the baby that we're going to have is a boy type thing.
Yeah, like people have just had the ultrasound and they have a party and they announce what gender the baby's going to be.
Shit reason for a party, but I don't know if it's fucking
Oh yeah, I
transphobic.
agree. Yeah, no, not
It says
transphobic.
feeling of dislike for a racial or ethnic group. Belief in this dislike equals prejudice. Actions that harm those you have prejudice against, discrimination, institutionalization of this discrimination, which is perpetuated by in society when discrimination becomes a part of how the society does things, equals racism.
Which is interesting because we were discussing after that post, by that very definition, isn't affirmative action, isn't that racism by the definition they've put forward there?
Well, yeah, because I suppose it's the
Like hardcore affirmative action where they're like,
well, yeah, I suppose because the government is imposing this affirmative action, aren't they? They're the ones who make it happen.
because that's institutionally backed discrimination.
Mm. You know, I forget where I heard it, but it was in the last week. I legit saw someone comment or heard someone say. I've been racking my brains trying to find out where it was because I need to cover it. There was a black guy from America, right? He fair dinkum. He fucking said black men can't rape white women
I
because
read about this.
fucking it was something like, you know, because to rape someone you have to have institutional power.
That's so messed up.
That's the scary thing, isn't it? Like if we all sort of sit by and let this shit happen, this bullshit, this utter fucking nonsense they talk go by, then it's going to turn into everything's going to be like that. It's just going to be, you know, black people can just do whatever the fuck they want because
Yeah.
I don't know, fucking slavery that didn't even happen here, or I don't know, reasons.
It's crazy how much it's escalated too, because like when I a few years back I did a class on race in America, and it was before Ferguson and all of that stuff, and before Black Lives Matter was a thing, and it was like, but it was only like 3 or 4 years ago. And in that class, it was really like they mentioned the fact that there was still a lot of segregation and they mentioned that sort of thing. But really, like, it was not like, oh, well, racism in America is this huge issue now. Like, they were very much celebrating the fact that Obama had been elected and talking about how meaningful that was to people who grew up through segregation and that sort of thing. But it was like pretty much talking about it like, look at how much great progress we've made. Whereas now you would not have that at all. Now it's like, oh, it's worse than ever. You know, it's escalated so quickly in just a couple of years, just such a short amount of time.
It has, hasn't it? And what do you make of that? Why has that been the case? Who's, you know, is there anyone pushing this? Like, how has this happened?
I think it's a combination of. I think it's to do with the victimhood sort of complex that's sort of become in vogue. I mean, it used to be that you didn't want to be a victim and you didn't want to be seen as trying to play the victim. Whereas now it's kind of, it's acceptable and it's something that people can get rich off and they can get jobs off. And, you know, there's this whole sort of economy of victimhood. And I think
well put. And it's not only acceptable, it's sort of desired, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It's desirable. That's why you see people, I mean, faking hate crimes and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I feel like, yeah, so I don't think it's the Black community as a whole. I think that it's thriving in the Black community because of the rise in victimhood culture.
Yeah. Did you see? It was probably a couple of years ago now. But speaking of victim culture, did you see the Jewish university student? This chick, she was she sort of lived at the university. I forget which one it was, but she kept drawing swastikas on her fucking door.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. And they looked into this whole hate crime thing and then found out it was her.
Well, they put secret cameras out at the front of her fucking door and got footage of her coming out and doing it.
There's been a few like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Or the poo swastika. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Because these white supremacists mean business. They have shits and swastikas with their shits. Who was gonna run with that was Byro, the fellow that makes the Buttermilk Bandits. Fuck, I reckon they're so funny, those fucking cartoons. I think the next one he's going to do something about poo swastikas. Like the villain's going to
oh dear.
Have you watched many of them?
A couple, but yeah, it's not like regular.
Yeah, you should watch them. They are fucking funny. They are side-splittingly funny. So tell me, where I suppose the big question is where do you think all this shit's going? Where do you think it's going to end up?
It's hard to say. I like to think that people are starting to wise up to it, but at the same time, I haven't seen that yet. Just in my experience at uni and stuff, it's very much still getting worse.
Yep. Why do you say it's getting worse? Give me an example of that.
It's becoming more acceptable, I think, from what I've seen. I've been at uni 5 or 6 years now, and in that time, from when I started to now, it keeps getting more and more accepted and more part of the actual classes, as well as being acceptable on campus. I mean, a few years back I did a class on the Russian Revolution, and there was a girl in the class who we had to go around and say why we're taking the class or something, and she said that she was Trotskyist. And everyone was kind of like, oh, okay, and kind of like steered clear of her. Whereas now it's very fashionable to bash capitalism. It's very fashionable to identify with Marxism and to be into all that stuff, the gender stuff and the microaggressions, all the SJW stuff. It's very popular now. So I've only seen it escalating in that time.
Yeah.
And I think it's only just coming. Sorry.
No, you go.
I think it's only just catching up as well in Australia, because a lot of what we've seen has been happening in America, but it's sort of starting to come here now. So, I mean, I know that a couple of weeks ago, there were protesters that crashed Sydney Uni's open day, and they were carrying mattresses with...
oh, no.
Yeah, for real. They were carrying mattresses saying, don't send your kids here. This is the hunting ground, like screaming out about rape on campus. But rape on campus in Australia is pretty much non-existent. Like, for starters, we don't have that college culture. Most people don't live on campus.
That's right.
And I mean, someone asked me a few months ago on Twitter, like, how do the universities in Australia handle the whole rape on campus type thing? And I was like, that's really interesting. I've been at uni 5 years and I've never heard anything about it. Let me look into it. Looked into it, even like the student union and the feminist groups on campus, and they were saying nothing about it. The only thing I could find was like there was an assault 3 years ago that happened in the same suburb. Like, it wasn't even on campus. It had nothing to do with campus. Like, it's a non-issue. And until about 2 months ago, even the feminist groups on campus weren't talking about it. But then now it's like in the last couple of months, all of a sudden we've got this crisis on campus of rape culture. Like, I mean, we obviously don't, but they've just sort of decided now that that's an issue they're going to push. And they're actually now doing, let me find it actually. They're doing a big survey into it, because they did a preliminary survey and found that some ridiculous number of people had been harassed on campus, except it was obviously, I think they just took hands in a room, like, hands up if you've ever been harassed on a night out. Because
or there would have been a survey and they deemed whether you were harassed or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone ever looked at you from the side?
Exactly. It was that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it was like, I think they were saying upwards of 72% of women, they were making the claim that many people had been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted on campus. But
72%?
That's what they said. I'm just looking for it now.
In Australia?
Yeah, but this was obviously that's a flawed statistic, and obviously their research was completely
obviously it's a
it's obvious to anyone, but the Human Rights Commission has now taken that and is now looking into doing an actual full-scale survey into rape culture on Australian college campuses.
You reckon the Human Rights Commission could be doing something about the fucking, the far outback fucking villages of, Aboriginals that, beat the shit out of their wives and that sort of shit?
You're not allowed to say that.
No,
your channel shut down for that sort of thing.
I'm obviously racist for saying that.
Yeah.
What about the? Did you see? It would have been probably 4 or 5 months ago. The University of New South Wales. I think it was in Wagga. Oh, was that racist? They fuck, what did they do? They at lunchtime they did a protest in the central square thing in the university, and they spelt out rape culture or something, with their bodies, and someone got an aerial shot of it. Yeah,
I think I did hear about that.
You know why they did that? It was because some group of blokes was on a boys' night, and they were in a minibus.
That's right, chanting.
They started singing this song about picking up chicks and rooting shit. For fuck's sake, that's not rape culture. Right. That's just boys being fucking horny. Fuck.
Exactly.
And boisterous.
Well, that's okay, so I've got the article here. It says, Human Rights Commission launches survey into sexual assault on university campuses. So it's including all 39 of Australia's universities, and they're going to be doing this big research project into it, this national survey. And it goes, we already know that sexual harassment is a massive issue on uni campuses across Australia. And then the incidences they cite are that one you were just talking about. And
they cited the minibus chanting thing.
Yeah, that was an example of rape culture on campus. And the other one they cite is a Facebook page from Melbourne Uni called Hotties of Melbourne University, where people were posting pictures of classmates being 10 out of 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Which and that's what they're saying, that it's a huge issue on campus. They have no incidences of actual issues. And then it says, beyond that, statistics from a survey conducted by the National Union of Students last year painted a damning picture of sexual harassment on campus. 72.75% of female university students surveyed said they'd experienced some form of sexual harassment.
No, they didn't. I bet you deemed that.
I know. Yeah. And I mean, I've been at uni for 6 years and I've never heard of a single incident. So I must be really hanging out in that 25%.
Are you saying that you've never been sexually harassed at university?
Well, yeah, no. I've never felt that I was being sexually harassed, but maybe that's the internalized misogyny speaking.
Well, I'm glad you can admit to internalized misogyny. Do you hear that term much? Does that get
so much, yeah.
What is it exactly? Is it just recognizing that feminism is stupid?
Yeah, they don't like that at all. It's actually what I get more probably is that you just want to it's like the pick me, you just want to get in with the guys.
Yeah, you want to be acceptable to boys. You want boys to
exactly.
like you.
Yeah.
And do boys like you? Has it succeeded?
Yeah, I don't think it's the best tactic, to be honest. But
no.
There's a lot of people that will say that for sure. And the whole gender traitor thing, and it's just a sign of your privilege that you can't see what you're actually suffering and that sort of thing.
Fucking privilege. I fucking hate privilege. Privilege is fucking stupid. I saw this video the other day. I don't remember how I found it, but it was this fucking rabid feminist from New Zealand, right? And she wrote about she did a video about privilege, about intersectionality, and intersectionality is about the intersections of privilege, and the shit spew they give.
Yeah.
And I've left a comment, right, because she said what did she say? She said something like people who were born in another country and who have travelled to New Zealand, who have immigrated to New Zealand, don't have as much privilege as people who were born in New Zealand.
What? So what if you come from Australia?
Well, no. It was a blanket statement, and so I've left a fucking a comment, sort of, you know, querying this, you know, what she said, and I said, so are you saying that anyone who travels to New Zealand, is born somewhere else, is less privileged than people who live in New Zealand? This thread went on for about 6 or 7 comments, and she would not give me a fucking straight answer. She's like, well, no, it's not that simple. You know, it's, you know, privilege can't be calculated, and you can't just, you know, you can't just do a simple maths. Then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you even talking if you can't come to any conclusion on it?
Yeah, if you can't quantify it, and if you're going to talk about this fucking thing that's meant to be, oh, well, you know, that's good on your side, that's bad on your side, that's, you know, points on your side. If you don't have some sort of legend, if you don't have some sort of fucking methodology for counting and calculating this shit, and that's what all of them say. That's they're dead against, you know, anyone even asking about the, you know, the concept of counting it and calculating it. What's the fucking point? Why talk about it at all?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes no sense.
I hate privilege.
Yes, don't we all?
Have you ever been told that you're privileged?
Oh yeah, a lot, because I'm white.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I get the negative. Well, I get the negative privilege points because I'm a woman, so that's bad.
You're a chick, yeah.
But then I'm white and like not living.
Are you heterosexual?
Yeah, and like not living on the streets. So it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, they hate their white feminism. So
you're practically a white male. That's fun.
Practically am. Yeah, I'm a white woman, but with internalized misogyny, so patriarchy.
That's fucking awesome. That is awesome. And so when you get shit like this slung at you, like in real life, IRL, does you know that means in real life?
Yes, I did.
I'm still learning these.
You're like a real internet person now.
Yeah. When you get these things like slung at you, IRL, do you what sort of, do you say nothing back? Do you sort of go, yeah, no, cool, good on you, awesome? What reaction do you have?
Well, I hate conflict, so I don't pick fights if I can help it.
So you agree, like a pussy?
Pretty much. No, I don't. Like I was saying in this class, I ended up doing my thing on the wage gap because I could not help myself. But I don't like go out of my way to like heckle them or whatever. I mean, that same class when I did the speech on male victims of domestic violence, the girl after me did a speech about how female athletes in the Olympics got called girls. And then we ended up having this whole class discussion about how society hates women. And I'm like, oh, perspective. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, usually, so I don't pick fights on purpose. I don't seek it out. But when it happens, if I'm asked what I think, or if I feel like I can say it in a non-confrontational way, I'll say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? Because I mean, the mere act of disagreeing with some of these people is confrontation, is oppression, is discrimination.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not recommending this as a tactic, but I'll usually say it in a way like I'm not that sure of myself. Like I'll ask a question. Yeah. So I'll be like, so for example, I was in a class where we were talking about funding for the arts in Australia, and we were talking about the lecturer said, oh, well, nobody in Australia, there's no charitable giving to the arts in Australia. Nobody gives money to the arts. You couldn't cut government funding because people just don't give to it. And so I said, do you think it's possible maybe that...
you use that old tactic, eh? Yeah.
If you cut the government spending, people would see the need for it, because at the moment they're like, well, I'm paying taxes, the money's going to it. It's not necessary for me to, but if the money wasn't going to that, then maybe, and he just goes, no, I don't think so. And they moved on. But so at least I asked the question.
You then just say, all right, have a nice day, bye.
I just leave it. If they're like, no, I don't think so. I mean, this happened in this SJW class. I got into an argument about gun control for some stupid reason.
Gun control?
Yeah, because someone decided to do their speech on something they knew that nobody agreed with to try and...
We've got fucking gun control. We're Australian.
Yeah, they're talking about why it's great and America needs it. But yeah, And I just, because they said something like, they said criminals in Australia don't have guns. And I was like, well, I can't just let that sit.
Well, some of them
Like,
do, yeah.
well, some criminals do have guns. But anyway, I got in an argument about that with them. And then someone said, well, when has a civilian with a gun ever stopped a shooting happening? And I said, it happens all the time. And the professor goes, no, it's never happened. What are you talking about? So I was like, okay, and just left it because there's no point at that point. If they're not interested in actually talking about facts. They just, that didn't go well. After that class, we got to the lift and I got in the lift and they went, oh, we'll just catch the next one. It's okay.
Oh, you're joking.
No,
So
it's serious.
It's like you literally farted in a lift. That's fucked.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like I've got leprosy.
What about the did you see the that shit last week about that fucking Muslim guy in Sydney that stabbed that poor old bloke, cut his throat and everything?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch the footage of him knocking on because he
the glass
got
sliding
door? In a salon or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fucked? That was just really sobering, that wasn't it?
I know, it was horrible. So messed up.
I remember talking about it on Twitter, and someone, obviously an American, sort of said, "Well, fucking, how's your gun control now? Don't you wish you had a fucking, a gun in your house? You'd go get and blow his head." And yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, in this argument I had with them, because I mean, I'm not like super pro guns, but I can also see the argument both ways. And like, it's very different, obviously, in an Australian context and an American context. But I was just really annoyed that they were just saying this stuff. But then one of the girls said, well, I wouldn't want to carry a gun. So it's unfair because if other people carry a gun, then they're more safe than me. And that's not fair. So no one should be able to carry a gun. And I'm like, but that's not true.
Baseball bats as well. Fucking hell.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, but that's not true because if someone's going to rape you and they're not sure if you have a gun or not, aren't they less likely to do it just on the off chance you do have a gun? Like,
it's a fair point.
Like, but no, that doesn't compute. Anyway, I'm not trying to get into an argument about guns, but I don't know. I think it's interesting in Australia. Have you noticed this, that nobody talks about politics? Because, like, my background, like my heritage, my family and stuff is from England. So I feel like part of it's picked up from there, but also I think it's an Australian thing that it's really weird to talk about politics. People don't like it.
It's one of those subjects that can sort of weigh a conversation. I think we all just want to fucking laugh and drink beer.
Exactly. It's like if you care about anything too much that's not footy, then you're a bit weird.
Yeah, I fucking hate footy conversations. I fucking hate them. My eyes glaze over. I just.
How are you Australian though? Really?
The job I used to have, right? It was really like I used to deal with publicans, with hotel owners.
Yeah.
Fuck me. There's no one in Australia that talks about footy more than pub owners. Fuck, I used to just like have to just watch enough footy that I could go, oh yeah, and what about North Melbourne last week? Yeah, no, you could.
Yeah.
I fucking hate footy conversation. I don't hate footy, but I hate talking about. Like, it's just some shit that you watch. Like I don't want to fucking talk about it.
I know, it's people's religion. It's like the most exciting thing about them.
Yeah. Oh, there's Devon Tracy. What's Devon Tracy saying? But it's something evil. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Fuck off, Devon.
I'm a little bit excited that Computing Forever's in here. I'm like fangirling.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you watch Computing Forever.
A little bit.
How are you, Computing Forever? I was on one of his streams the other night. It was one of those ones I probably shouldn't have gone into because I was fucking tired. I just sat there like a fucking idiot, didn't say much. Yeah, shit. And so, what about just on the general topic of Islam, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your take on the whole? What's her name? Sonia? Is it Sonia Kruger?
Yeah, Sonia Kruger.
What was your take on that? Just so that the chat knows, Sonia Kruger is a I suppose you'd call her an anchor lady. She's got a sort of news-ish type program, and she said she basically came out in support of a columnist who said we should have, was it a 5 or 10 year moratorium on
I think it was just like a 5-year moratorium.
Yeah, so we should effectively ban Muslims from immigrating to Australia for 5 years until we sort out we have a clear understanding of what's going on with all this terrorism shit. And she came out, and it was just